It's coming. I believe it's coming now. We'll catch up. Here we go. So what count is on. It's coming. Here we go. Okay, here we go. There we go. It's recording now. Hold on. We'll start over again. Here we go. Here we go, right here. Thank you for tuning in to this broadcast. You're watching Let's Talk About with Andrew Love. And I have a special guest named Steve Lavoie.
Lavoie. Yeah.
All right, Lavoie. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had a near-death experience or where he transitioned. And he gonna tell us and share a little bit about himself and about his experiences as a near-death experience survivor. And so Mr. Steve, can you tell the audience a little bit about yourself?
Oh, right now I'm 65, but way back in the 90s, 1990s, I worked in nursing as a certified nursing assistant. Did everything from through that field. Finally ended up working in hospice. Got out of the field. That field went into building maintenance. Did that up until August 5th, 2000. August 5th, 2000, got my check from my work, cashed it at the bank, deposited some of it, went to eat lunch or ate something at a restaurant. And then I had to go to a counseling appointment in town. So driving to a counseling appointment, I saw that the intersection that I was going to go through had a green light. So I slowed down my speed down a little bit, got halfway across the intersection, and this old man who, I don't know if he was lost or what his thing was. He basically slammed into my driver's door going, and it was like a T-bone accident. The force of his speed of his car canceled out my speed of my car. He just like bulldozed me across. I got up on across the sidewalk and impacted into a telephone pole. I had a four-door car. It went through the back passenger's door and went right for the driver's seat. So it was almost folded in half. They said that the force of the accident actually bent the drive shaft. A first responder came on the scene, noticed that the lap belt, which was separate from the shoulder harness, was like pinching me in two.
Mm.
He managed to cut the lap belt, and when he did that, the internal injuries that I had, just I went into shock. I heard a voice in my passenger seat. I turned my head a little bit and noticed it was a paramedic. He climbed into the car as best possible, and he put a cervical collar on me. I was worried about because I saw some like smoke or steam or whatever coming from the engine area. He said, "That's okay. It's just the radiator." And he had this blanket that was like plastic coated, And he put it over me, and he climbed underneath. Said, I'm putting this blanket on you to protect you from the glass of the driver's door. They're going to try to use the jaws of life to open it. The doors got cut open and swung away. They brought in a backboard. They laid me down on the backboard, taped my head as best possible. The injuries I had was literally a dual brain injury. I had a eggshell crack on the skull on this side, and a closed head injury on this side of the brain. They put the backboard on a gurney, and the paramedic kept saying, "You got to stay awake. You got to stay awake. Stay awake. Keep your eyes open." At that time, it was sunny out, but the light was just so intense. And I said, it's too bright. It's too bright. When they bumped the gurney to push it into the ambulance, I was brought up about 50 feet above the ambulance. I could see in the ambulance, see the paramedics working on my body, see the probation fire department crew working on cleaning up the glass. I saw police all around, like about 6 blocks around the accident scene. And much like Star Trek with the tractor beam, beam me out, beam me in, I was just 50 feet above the accident and suddenly hurtled into the light. And I'm standing there, and these like 7, as best could be described, souls, enlightened souls, came to me. I didn't recognize any of them. They didn't have features like here on Earth. I started asking questions. I said, "Where am I? I want to find out what happened. Where am I? Who's to blame for this?" And they only said this: "Follow us." I went into a room with them that was like a 360-degree room. The walls were probably about 150 feet high. And suddenly, everything in my life, every little instant in my life, was up on the walls. It was like a big movie. I could even see the stuff behind me.
Is it like the Matrix? That's kind of strange because that's what the Matrix was kind of basically like, except it was like TVs is some
Yeah,
similar.
but for this, it was interesting because they had no projector, and yet my life was going on around me. At that time, I guess the leader of the light people asked me this one question. They said, "Who are you?" I told them who I was. I told them where I worked. I told them what I could do. Everything. They shook their head, no. And I'm still watching the scenes on my life. And they said, "Who are you?" So I gave them out more information. It was all wrong. Third time, they asked, "Who are you?" I told them how much money I had in the bank, how much, what type of car I did have, uh, you know, where I shop. I don't know, restaurants. They went, "No." At this time, the images on the screen, it was like a glitch, and it changed to where the people I was like getting upset with, angry with, fighting with, spitting on, lying to, morphed into me. So I was seeing myself lie to myself. I was seeing myself spit on myself. I was seeing myself punch myself. And they asked, the fourth time, they asked, "Who are you?" And I was shocked because I came to a realization that everything I was doing externally, I was in fact doing it to myself. And I looked up and I said, I don't know who I am. I don't know. They said, they nodded their head and they said, "You are love. That's all you are, and that's all you ever will be is love. Follow us." We left the building and the sky, like here we see blue. What I saw when I left the building was billions and billions of rainbows, and each and every color of each band of the rainbow, like the blues, the reds, all the colors, were singing a different tone of the solfeggio tones. And it was like a beautiful symphony. And I asked the light beings, I said, "May I stay? I'd like to stay." They said, "No, in time you will, but you have one mission to complete. And it's up to you to decide what is that mission." I said, "I guess, okay." Suddenly I'm back on Earth in the trauma room. This is for a few hours later. And I hear this doctor on the right side of my head saying, "Oh, good, you're back with us. Um, you're going to hear some noise." And what they were doing was actually stapling my scalp back over. They had to work on this side of my head. They were stapling the scalp back over. And from there, I was transferred for 2 days up in the hospital. And I hired an attorney to, handle a little lawsuit against this guy that ran the red light. And my attorney said, "I have some news for you based on the accident. When you hit the pole, the power company found that you moved the pole 6 inches in the ground in one direction. And I also have the bills for your hospital stays here. The trauma room alone was 500,000. Each hospital stay, and I was there for 2 days, was $6,000 a day. I was released from the hospital to go into physical therapy. Spent 6 months in physical therapy and then left there. And I decided, well, I'm going to go back to Gold's Gym, because that was the gym I was using, and work out there. So I did that for a long time. And my whole life at that time, I was bound and determined to get back to some physical health. But coming back from a brain injury is very hard. And in 2003, I was trying to get back to work too. And my boss says, I really don't think you're going to be able to work anymore. And so I'm going to let you go. Right. And so at that time, I managed to get this was in California. I got a legal aid attorney to get me on Social Security. Got Social Security, got an apartment, and started living my life. In 2007, they had these wildfires that went through California. One of the towns was my town. It was wild because it was a military base was right next to us. The governor of the state of California called in the Marine Corps for martial law. And if you were found on the street, you were taken to an evac center. I spent almost a full month at the evac center. I think it was a shy of like 3 days out of a full month. And I got home and I had friends around the apartment building. It was a 55 plus community. But I wanted someone in my life that would call me on my stuff. You know, that type of friend. They wouldn't mince words. They just call you out on it. And so I picked up the phone book and just flipped it open. And it ended up to be my girlfriend's mom's number. She's had the number for like 20 plus years. And I closed the book and I said, no, that woman hates me. See, I dated this girl in 1977. It's now 2007. So 30 years separation. I never even seen her at all, where she was at, whatever. And so I heard this voice open the book, opened it again. It came open to the same page. I did not try to thumb through and try to find the number. I said, no, no, no. The woman hates me. What she hated was the fact that I was at the time in 1977, I was a teenage boy, you know, going after, you know, she didn't want her daughter affected by that. So I closed the book again, opened it a third time, and I heard this voice say, call the number. So I dialed the number and I spoke to my girlfriend's sister. We had a good talk. And then she said, oh, you know, she's not here right now. I was like, so I was really devastated. I was like, great. Spent all this time trying to call. And then her sister says, but here's her number. Give her a call. So in 2007, we reconnected over to the phone, emails, text, you know, you name it. In 2010, she came down from Washington State, where I live right now. We, you know, and she came down to California to visit with her family and visit with me. And she actually stayed with me, and it was like old home week. It was like the 30 plus years didn't even exist. Finally, she said, well, I got to get back to Washington State, get back to work. Come on along. I said, let me close up my apartment and I'll be up shortly. She goes, you better. I flew up probably about a week later and been up here ever since. Um, my wife, my girlfriend and I, we got married in 2012, and she just recently died in 2022. I've had people, doctors, friends, look at me about that, and they're like, you're too calm about the whole thing. You should be a little more devastated. And the thing is, when it first hit me, yes, I was blown away, crying my eyes out all the time. But then I realized my wife has experienced that thing, that very place where I went. And I know for a fact that I'll be going back there too. The mission that I was told to do was to share one, my story with everybody else like you, Andrew, and your people that watch your channel. And more than that, to share with people that we have this life totally wrong. If we really knew what was actually happening in this world, we'd be walking around with smiles on our face because it's all up to us to create a better world. You know. So, Andrew, you have any questions?
Yes. Since the accident, to the beings and figures that you have spoken to,
Mm,
did you between that time, do you have any communication with those entities? Any other signs of any way of of into that process of you calling them your ex?
yeah. In 2010, I was learning how to meditate. And so my wife was gone from work, or my girlfriend was gone from work. And so I'm sitting in the living room in this house that we lived in, had my eyes closed, and all I heard was, hello. I immediately opened my eyes. I thought there was an intruder in the house. And I thought to myself, I'm hearing voices. It is insane. I'm insane. I'm going crazy. So I closed my eyes again, went back into my meditation, and I heard, hello, you're not crazy. Remember. And immediately the auto accident that I went through, the whole NDE came into clear focus. And at that time, I was like just blown away by all the information that flooded in. It was like books upon books upon books flooding into my brain about everything I experienced up there. That was one of the first times that they came to me. Um, and it's like I shared with a few other people. They asked me certain questions like, you know, I don't know. They asked me something about their life, what they're going through, and they said, "What do you think?" And I thought for a minute, and I gave them an even deeper answer, but it was exactly on point to what they wanted. Formerly, I was on Facebook, and I had to get off Facebook for health reasons. And before I got off, this one friend of mine on Facebook, he lived way down in Florida. And he was going through a migraine. And I know how bad they are. And I just said, I'm going to send you some energy. right now. And this guy starts going, whoa, 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 whoa. And he's looking around, right? And he goes, wait a minute, my migraine cleared really quickly. How did you do that? So I typed back on Messenger, well, I was sitting in that blue chair in your living room. He goes, we never met in our whole life. How do you know I have a blue chair in your living room? Because that was the chair I was sitting in. And he goes, ooh, that's eerie. You know,
Oh wow.
um,
So you learn how to uh I guess you say astro project or whatever you want to call it.
remote view.
Remote view.
Yeah, remote viewing. Um, and I've been able to send energy to certain people and help them with some things. But I've been told that there are some illnesses or diseases that are karma related,
Oh.
and you can't, technically you can heal it, but it will come back.
How you know if different is karma related or not? I'm sure most stuff are, but
I honestly don't know, but I've talked to a few people
hmm.
and I say, okay, give me the backstory on this and give it to me straight. And, they tell me this story and I go, come on, deeper, deeper than that. And they work it down to the last effort. And I go, I'm sorry, I can't help you. You got to clear up this part of your karmic debt, you know. And so they're kind of disappointed because I couldn't heal them. But I've dealt with people that where they say, I need it, I need it, I need it, and put the healing out there, and the disease or disorder comes back again. It's something they have to work through, you know.
So here's your answer. So the truth of the matter is, can everybody be healed? Is it possible? I ain't gonna say can everybody be healed. Is it possible that everybody can be healed? Or you based on that, if they figure out their karma debt, or you think there's some stuff they may never be able to heal, even if they know as far as karma debt. That's on you. I'm on the answer your opinion.
I'll use myself as an example.
Okay.
Okay. Right now, because I left Facebook in, I think, 2019, um, I left because my kidneys are failing. Now you think that's not bad enough because you could probably get something to eat and then change the format of your kidneys and you'll be living for a few more years. Well, I also have a disease known as nephrocalcinosis, which is calcification of the kidneys, meaning my kidneys are stone. I also have polycystic kidney disease and polycystic liver disease. And I'm perfectly all right with this. A lot of people say, you mean you're okay with dying? The truth of the matter on that, yes, I am. But I see too many people that are afraid of living, you know, afraid of maybe taking the chance and just doing things. Um, right after my wife passed in 2022, I think a month later, I had a dream and she was in it. And she said to me, do you know why I passed that way? Well, the reason is I know what you're going through. I left early so I could welcome you home. We end up putting great stock in this life, right? And that's a good thing to do, but we should put greater stock in ourselves in the moment to moment of our days. In that way, we will know true peace. Instead of future tripping about what we're going to do tomorrow, the next year, the next year, and next year, right now, focus on today. That's where I'm at. I am 100% seeing this thing through to the very end. I still do my things around the house, stuff like that. And I take it one day at a time, one moment at a time.
So here's about a question. So you believe that most people um spend their life stressing about the cares of the world, so to speak, like work, money, what they go eat, what they go wear, what people think about them, and
Yeah,
forget.
definitely. I believe so. You know, um, because they want to buy this type of clothing because then their friends would love them for it and all. And it's like, does that really matter? Does that really matter? A job? Yes, definitely. Right? Hold down a job, but make your focal point your heart. You know, a lot of people are so stuck up in their heads, creating more and more difficulties for themselves. When you can get into your heart space, there's nothing you can do that can't be attained.
Cause I think, in this realm we live in that we are experiencing now, they say we're living or experiencing, put it more, I guess a better term. I think a lot of people are more focused on jobs, like even their careers, but I don't think anybody um really think too much about why they here. I think we
Yeah.
have put ourselves in the box of a career move and think that career is us, think this job is us, think this is who we are, this what makes us who we are, for as job, position and money and status.
Mhm.
And I guess you would say that this element world things. I'm not saying those things, money, job, no, and people are not good to have, but I think there's a lot of people spending most time uh pursuing a job and career in this dream of having money and housing, clothes, and I think after that, there's nothing else to really the hope for in most people.
It's interesting to note that, you know, when I started working, I was 15 years old. My mom and dad both signed the employment papers, and my dad drove me down to the work for a full summer. Got on the back of a pickup truck, and drove down into the orchards and groves and worked out there. Um, it's one thing to have a job, work eight to five, 9 to 5, whatever, right? If you're not happy in it, then at the end of 30, 40, 50, 60 years, when you finally retire, where are you at? Find what you're passionate now, research that. And where you can find what you're passionate about is inside of you, right? Just study that intensely and then move into that field.
So basically we're back down to the drawing board of what I call self-discovery.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing about it is a lot of people, including ourselves, still learning what is that I like. And a lot of time we like what society tells us we need and what we like. We really don't know. We're been programmed. This is what you like. This is what you need to like. And nobody really step outside and say, I believe a person wants to live life freely, they have to find out who they really are and where they at inside. And I think a lot of people in today's society that's working really don't know who they are. They just becomes who people tell them to be or what they think society is normal in society to be. And so they pursue those things.
Exactly. Wayne Dyer said that when you shift your attention from ambition, what you have to do, what you need to do, you have to work, to meaning, you'll find your center. If you don't find your center, your meaning in the job you're doing, you're possibly in the wrong job. Society does throw out a lot of stuff to us, buy this type of shoes, buy these clothes, you know. And I've always been a rebel. When I was in school, high school, whatever, I was a rebel. And a rebel is not that bad when you're not hurting anybody. But you got to find yourself, your true identity. And nobody else in this world can tell you who you are because they'll be giving what they think you are. Find your truth.
I have a question.
Yeah.
When I say you are love, I know many people have many ideals and definitions based on what society told them what love is and what it really means. Uh, due to your experience, what does love mean? Since they say you are love, what does that mean to you?
Let me give you the contrast before 2000 at my NDE. Okay. I was in a religion. I was told you got to focus on this. Don't even look at any of the churches. They're all wrong. Don't focus on this person. They're crazy. They're going to hell. They're going to hell. They're going to hell. And I fell for it. You know, I got into like lockstep with what they were talking about and preaching. After my NDE, I've sat down with some very beautiful people from the gay community, transgender community. I've sat down with um, people of all different religions, and we had conversations. Love knows no boundaries. Love knows no color, no sexuality, gender, whatever. It just loves. And if anybody can just do that, if their church, religion, whatever, or non-religion says, don't listen to these people, don't talk to those people, ask yourself, why are they asking me not to see these people? You can find some great information just by asking people, talking to them, getting away from the uh, cookie cutter mentality, literally stepping out of the box of your thinking. That's what love does.
Thank you for that answer. I do have some more questions. Because it's a lot. Um, since your experience, um, how that here's one question. How did you learn how to remote view?
That was a gift given to me. And it's basically what I found is it's open to, you can't remote view anybody at all if they don't want it. They will literally put up a block and you can't get through it to view that their life. But there's got to be like a similarity, a common thread where you can, look into their life and see how they're doing. But it only happens where you can't remote view into the future for them. It only happens right now.
Interesting. Can you remote view where I'm at, or that's has to be certain elements?
Has to be certain elements, like the young man that had the migraine. I know migraines. I've had migraines all my life. I take a nice little cup of coffee in the morning. Hopefully nobody's getting offended by that, but I take a cup of coffee in the morning, maybe a cup of coffee in the evening, just to keep the migraines away. So I knew that energy and I could zero in on that.
Okay, so it has to be based on similarities of your experience.
Pretty much. Or I have to get certain with another person, if their higher self, right? Because there's three levels of a person. The lower self, that means the root nature of the person. That one person that gets angry, that's in your root area.
Mhm.
Your physical body, how you move through this world, and then your higher self, right? And it's all connected in one line. If your higher self agrees and your middle self agrees, but your lower self is, I don't know. That's the block. Got to be some agreement in the physical form of one person and agreement with me.
Oh, okay.
I've had people actually, I had one person that set up this thing where they said, all right, I'm going to do this, 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 and this. And, they set up a plan to try to trick me, and everything. And so I went into remote viewing and I said, I'm sorry, I'm being blocked in this area. And they went, no, no, you just go through it. No, I can't. I can't go through it. It's a block on your end. Person looked at me on the text that I was doing. She's going, how do you know I was blocking you? And this bell went off in her head. And she went, oh.
Oh wow.
So in other words, you could try to play games and do that thing,
That's crazy.
but if you're really super honest and you really need help in this area, right? Another time I had a person contact me and they gave me the basic information of what they were going from with. So I'm like remote viewing in and I'm going, okay, tell me one thing. How's your left foot doing? And she was having a problem with her upper leg. And she's like, how did you know my left foot was having a problem? I can clearly see it. You got to stop crossing your ankles. How do you know I crossed my ankles? She immediately uncrossed her ankles. Stop crossing your ankles, and the problem in your upper leg will. And that was for that instance.
But I still got. But that's pretty good. They healed themselves. They got the answer they needed,
Yeah.
and sometimes that's good. I'm gonna get back to that later because I want you to do something for me if you can.
Okay.
But not, I got some more questions to answer. So answer, and we'll talk about that later because I'm curious about some of the things too. Cause I have some questions that you may be able to help me on as well as my person. So I ain't trying to
Okay.
trick, ain't trying to put no blocks up. But anyway, I have another question. That was a gift you had got after you um crossed over. That's when you had that gift at that time.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. And let me ask you a question now. Did you ever figure out, or you don't even really care who the beings or entity was that you had talked to since they did talk to in your head? You ever cross that? Who are y'all? Or you just get to the point like where you know it just don't really matter right now? Because
That is a totally fantastic question. Truthfully, if you had money, that'd be a $10,000 question. I've had people ask me, did you see Jesus? Did you see Muhammad? Did you see your mother and father?
that y'all thought you
And the thing
hallucinating.
is, everything down here, we live in a dualistic world down here. Up there, there is no duality. There is no color. There are just souls, and souls are light. Did they have a physicality to this world at the time that before their transition? Yes. Um, but the energy of them is at a much higher vibration than us. When I was in my NDE, my vibration was barely able to, get into that area. And I could get into so far, right? Because my connection still with this physical form.
Mhm.
Um, I did not see anybody up there that I could recognize. And truthfully, I kind of made a few Christians, and I hope you guys are blessed now, mad at me because they asked, I, I answer questions straight out where they're at.
Let's see.
This person asked me and said, "Who'd you see up in heaven?" I'm like, "Well, for one thing, I really didn't call it heaven. It was more like a light area. But you want to call it heaven? That's okay." As for who I saw saints and sinners. I saw prostitutes. I saw you name it up there. And they're like, "Oh, I hate that answer."
That's
I'm
great.
wondering, I'm wondering
That's a,
if
I
if you
understand,
don't want
Steve.
if you don't want the answer, don't ask the question.
Steve, I understand your take. I used to be a Christian, as that kind of mindset, and probably still some programs I have to get rid of. Religion is I'm not not a Christian. Um, more of a witch, sort of. Yeah, I think that's what I speak witch. And what I say witch is that believe in. Well, I'm gonna break the word term down so a lot of people misunderstand. I don't care what y'all think about it. Witchcraft means witty craft, mean wise craft. It's craft is something you do. Wise
Mhm.
means you intelligent. And a lot of people don't break the word down, they get the understanding. Don't believe in no devil, so to speak. I do believe there's spirits and entities in different parallel realms, and I also believe that we are connected to divinity, what the people call God, which is source. I do believe there's only now there's many different everything happen all in one continued timeline. There's no past, present, future. It's all the same thing, which is hard for a lot of people to understand. I don't believe there's a heaven and hell. As they say, I believe we have the power to create what we call heaven and hell, and just put out there. So I do understand where you're coming from. And
Yeah.
I do understand why Christian people are mad. Christian people say they love and caring, but they only love and care is when you conform to what they believe is right and true. So they really don't really love and care. And if you don't believe what they believe or see the way they say they use the terms they use, they say you crazy, you are evil, or you're dreaming. You know they'll do anything to downplay what you told them. So I understand you making Christian people mad and people answering questions. Unfortunately, you have a lot of most people who go on to agree with you and understand probably not gonna be Christian people unless they very few that's very open minded and don't know who they really are, kind of in and out of the religion. Because man-made religion has held us
Mhm.
uh captive of a certain growth. It's a part of a system that stops you, prevents you from seeking things from within. They more seek things without. It's the something outside of you got to do. It's the devil's fault. The white Jesus, Easter Bunny, Santa Claus, whatever. Uh, they take out accountability. It's a strange religion where where it takes you out of the driver's seat.
For me, I accept everybody now where they're at.
Hmm.
I don't I don't put them through anybody through my list of judgments because I
Hmm.
don't have any. I was a Christian myself. I was raised Catholic, then went Christian. Studied a little bit of the Islam faith, and now I'm Buddhist. But the thing is, with me being Buddhist, I'm not asking anybody to be Buddhist. I
Right.
want everybody to be the best person they are. Love their family, love their children, love their neighbors if they can. Um, because that's it. It's like love is the number one thing that we must be doing right now.
I agree. I agree. Yeah, that's why I say it's, when it comes to some people religions, they don't hate no one unless they need really, really, really have a problem, which a lot of people does is that um, you know, as long as they ain't bothering me, I'm not gonna bother them.
Hmm.
And and unfortunately, like I say, some people belief system, like I said, if you don't believe what they believe, you some reason the enemy to most of them, which is I found this a strange belief system because I said, I don't care what people believe, long as they believe in isn't bothering me. And as long as what they believe is not going to affect me at all. Every time you
Hmm.
believe in hurting people because you don't agree or see things their way, or condemning people, that's not good. I don't care what religion you are, but I don't think that's not good. I have
Yeah.
another question. So I understand where you're coming from exactly.
Okay.
I don't have a problem with nobody. I don't have a problem. And don't, and it don't, shouldn't matter what your. Well, it does. Unfortunately, it does have some people belief system kind of like politics. People fight back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, which is kind of crazy
Hmm.
because you either like the president election is real crazy because it's become like a cult, basically a bad in a bad way. people with Democrat Republicans, but at the end of the day, it's strangely he's supposed to be the leader of the military. He's supposed to be for all the people. I don't understand why we got a party. You either for the people or you're not for the people. That's what I don't understand. It's just something strange. We may disagree on some things, but
Yeah. So
you know.
what is your question?
Um so um so basically the people, or I'm gonna say people entities. I don't know if I can't say if they people or what they are entities, because if they're not decided this physical realm, I don't know, we call them entities. I can't say spirits. I think spirit is a better term. The spirits, because we're spirits in the body. Um the spirits or entity, I guess, pretty cool. That you saw, you saying they used to be here too, or somewhere else too.
That's what I believe. I didn't have any knowledge at that time or even this time as to
Hmm.
where everybody came from up there.
Okay.
But a
So,
lot of them
mhm,
uh, that I know is,
mhm.
I came to them with anger. I came to them with hatred. I came to them, they asked me this question and I answered it the best way I knew how. And my anger was not met with anger.
Mhm,
Down here, if you angry at somebody, their anger is going to come up.
mhm.
But what happens if that person doesn't get angry at you? It's kind of disheartening.
Yeah.
It's like, wait a minute, I'm trying to get you pissed off at me and you're smiling. You have to wonder what they're on, where they're at in life, or whatever. But for me, it was unnerving. It was very unnerving.
Maybe because they was at peace, they didn't feel no need to be angry. Or maybe they understood what you understanding as of right now on this realm, and so you're not as trouble. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
You think that could be it?
Possibly, because like after my NDE, with my kidneys failing and everything, I had one doctor look at me and he sat down with me and said, "Do you realize what you're going through?" Now, his mentality is thinking about all the patients that he talked to and they were devastated by it. They're freaked by it. What will my family, this, that, and the other thing, right? And this one doctor looks at me and goes, "Do you really know what you're going through?" I don't think so. I just wanted to say, well, do you think you're a doctor or not? Because I'm not
Okay.
feeling it right now. But the truth is, I know exactly what I'm going through. I'm just not pushing the point of going that route fast. I've been asked the negative questions where you're going to kill yourself or whatever, something like 25 or 35 times.
No, no.
And the best answer I have is I don't need to do that. My body's going south for the winter perfectly well. I don't need to encourage it in any way. I'm just along this thing for the ride, just looking out the window. Wow, look at the trees. I'm living my life. And I guess that's a problem with certain people. You have to
Yeah,
take this pill. You have to
yeah.
do this certain thing. I take my medication every day.
Mhm.
You know, I had one doctor go, "I have a lot of patients that are just like you, and of course, I tell them to really watch their diet. But with you." I don't need to because you're eating a lot more healthier than a lot of doctors do.
Mhm.
You know, the whole thing is this: when when well, let's do an experiment, Andrew, right now, okay?
Okay.
Which is your dominant hand?
Right hand.
Right hand? Put it palm up in front of you,
Yeah.
okay? Lay it flat. Lay it flat down,
Okay.
like with the palm up, flat. I'm gonna place a
My palm
word
up.
on a piece of,
Okay.
yeah, palm up. I'm gonna place a
Uh-huh.
word on this piece of paper. I'm gonna
Hmm.
put that piece of paper in your hand right now. We'll remote view it, put it in your hand. There it is. On the word on the paper, it says suffering. So let's do a little experiment. Crumple up that paper as small as you can.
And his right hand.
Yeah, crumple
Okay.
it up and throw it away from you to like behind you or whatever. Okay. Now look at the palm of your hand. Is there any more suffering there?
No.
You let go of the suffering. So you can't fear what you have don't have. We hold on to suffering in this life. We hold on to everything associated with suffering. When we all have to only have to do is let go of it. I have talked to people about this and shared this with them, and a few have gotten it, but quite a few more are still like going, I don't understand that. You know,
Okay, Steve, another question. So you're
yeah.
trying to, I know it's a question. Okay. It's not that sometimes knowing the answer and experience the answer is two different things. You
Mm,
know what I'm saying? Okay. Here's this is what I'm asking. So, I think I kind of know the answer. Okay, but I'm asking the question anyway. Sometimes it's
mm,
self-reinforcement. It helps my mind,
yeah.
especially when I'm asking the question. So you're saying that a lot of our problems, or if there are problems or if there are not problems, we have the power to give life to those problems. Like if I hang on to them, they just say, like you said about your medical issues, it's
Mm,
there. What it's worrying about is going to do. Stress is not going to help change the circumstances. We know that don't work. They don't add more problems.
yeah.
So we focus on it. So the thing is that you just let go and just trust the journey of life,
Mm,
which is scary. Because we do know there's potential to be healed, but there's also the possibility you may not be healed. I think what we hang on to is the fear of not knowing what happens after this. That's why we try to hang on to it. We comfortable. We rather hang on to the problems or whatever it is
yeah.
we think we can't fix or whatever than let go. And I think it's kind of strange because you hang on to things that you don't like. Um, but you've been conditioned to worry and stress about things where if you fit can fit them or not, which is strange. So basically the question is this when you let go of those pain and suffering, um, what's next? And how do you let go is probably another question. Is it that easy to just let go, or is this, or we just been taught it's not that easy to let go? So I know it's
We've
like
been
multiple
taught.
questions.
We've been taught. And we need to break that programming, right? We have to find the root of that cause of why we don't want to get rid of it. primarily it's we don't know what's on the other side, what's maybe what's going to happen if I let go of the suffering. Am I going to get more suffering? It's all a construct in your brain. So what you do is you go like this, you figure out why you've been holding on to suffering for a long time. Then on your other hand, you go, okay, I'm holding on for this so long. I'm going to create a new now. I'm going to get rid of the suffering. And all I have left is this brand new thing that I created, the new now, whatever that is. We then start living from that lifestyle, right? I spoke to one young man who his father was an alcoholic, and he saw his family members breaking down and getting into that type of lifestyle. And I asked him, I said, why is your whole family devastated by this when it was your father's problem? And they said, well, we held on to the certain belief that if we all work together, we can help our dad. In the end, he actually got rid of alcohol himself, started creating a new life for him. That's an easy answer. But there's some situations that you have to really break it down to the least little tiniest little amount and look at that and go, is that all it is?
Mhm.
Right. Kind of like if you have a thorn stuck in your skin and you can't find out where it is, but you know there's heat, there's pain associated with it, right? You literally have to find out where that thorn is, take it away, then healing can come. But it's up to each person to either create that healing or, sad to say, stay with the suffering.
Hmm. All right. Another question. You say you've been meditating.
Yes.
How, well, yeah, you say you're meditating. How
Mhm.
important is the meditation and what, um, and how do you use meditation to benefit, um, how do you use meditation to benefit the things, uh, to help them let go or the change, bring change into the life? In what way and how it's done from your experience?
Well, for me, I first heard and started really studying meditation was in 1979. I was in college, and that's when the first time I heard it. Then I came up here to Washington State and really got a little deeper into it, right? Looking over my situation when I first came up here, I was a mess. I was a total mess. I was on a certain medication that was going to kill me. Um, I weighed, well, in California, 2006, I ballooned up to 305 pounds. And I had all these medical equipments and medical aids just to help me walk. When I came up here, um, through the help of my wife, I started meditating. And I started looking at the medication that I was on that the doctor said it's it's good for me. I said, but why? They said, you don't need to know why, but it's good for you. So I finally said, that's it. I'm done. And I went in and I looked at the doctor. I had a nurse practitioner. I said to him, I want to titrate off all this medication. And it was 4 heavy duty pills that was making me balloon up. At the time that I said this to her, I weighed 298. She told me nobody ever does that. Nobody. If you do this, you're going to do this, 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 and this, and this, and it's going to have adverse problems in the world. I said, well, I know you're a nurse practitioner. Go talk to your boss. Tell them what I plan on doing and let them decide, not you. She was mad. She was pissed at me. She goes, well, he ain't going to say yes or no to yes to this. So I got a call to come into the office again. My future wife and I went in there and she says, I don't know what, but he has approved you to get off the medicine. So I started doing yoga, Tai Chi, Qigong, meditation, and it cleared out of me. After a year and a half, I had post-acute withdrawal syndrome. And then one day I was sitting in the living room, just sitting still, because going through that, my body was doing like movement Tourette's type thing. And I was just sitting still in a meditation, but my eyes were open. My girlfriend comes out of the bedroom and goes, oh my God, what's wrong? And I said, looked up and went, I'm not moving. And she started dancing. I started dancing. And the weight came off. I'm down to 170 right now. You know, meditation, if done properly, can change your whole mindset and heart set into a better direction.
Okay, so when you meditated, for say, what did you specifically meditate on to help resolve those issues that you had? Was it something specific that you meditate on, or you just, or it just certain?
Well, the meditation that I do, I imagine there's a candle right here in my heart space and it's lit. And I imagine the light getting bigger and bigger and filling up my shoulders, into my neck, into my head, and pushing all the darkness out of me. Goes down to my abdomen, all the way down my feet, so that the inside of me is light. And when I sit in that space, everything is good. There's nothing negative. So it's not so much really focusing on anything, but it's unfocusing on everything. Our minds are so tied up in chasing after all these different thoughts up here. And meditation is clearing the mind.
Okay, you just something. I'm thank you for saying that. So, so here's the key. So you're saying our body can heal itself if we start spending most of our time of overworking it with things we fear and things we like, food, clothes, shelter, and try to figure out how things are going to work out. So you're saying if we just clear that up and we clear those thoughts, our body uh can heal itself. Not even just the body. So well, the body is talked about. The body can heal
Yeah.
itself from wherever necessary. And so you're saying
Mm-hmm.
our thoughts are toxic to the body. the negative, the bad
Very,
thought.
very much so. When we chase after all these different thoughts, they're super toxic. I mean, when people have racing thoughts, that's one thing, right? But why do you need to follow after every single thought? It's very tiring. You know, one day my wife and I were watching this one video of Esther Hicks. She channels Abraham. And my wife turned to me and goes, "Oh, that's why you had an NDE, because your mind is empty. And my mind is so full of all these thoughts." Because she reads a lot of stuff. She studies, everything. And I just sit there and go, cool, far out. You know, um, it doesn't mean that you just go around not thinking, but choose the thoughts that you want to think. Don't become a slave to all and every single thought that goes through your head. They don't need your attention.
Okay, so this is well, like, we have what we call the subconscious thoughts in our subconscious.
Mm-hmm.
We have a lot of so I think to clear the subconscious. I know I heard we have a lot of thoughts in our subconscious where if we know the thoughts are there or not. So like a lot of stuff could be in your subconscious mind from years of programming that's in the running the subconscious mind. Also could be reason that our bodies and situations not changing because with the subconscious mind pulls a bring. So in meditation state, you believe I'm pretty sure it does. It's also cleans out the subconscious mind or free
Mm-hmm.
the subconscious mind, all the where if we know they're there or not. It also clears that up as well. That's in the background, kind of like a computer system. Your body like a computer system.
Yeah. The big thing is, one thing I learned from my NDE is that our names are not our names. Our parents, our elders, whoever raised us gave us that name. The job we do is not who we are. The stores we shop at are not who we are. And if we break it down to the very smallest denominator, we'll realize that we are not anything, but we are everything, if that makes any sense.
Are we gods?
Well, when we're in our ego mind, we're devil. But when we live from our heart space, I believe we're God.
What does it mean to you to be gods? 'Cause a
As,
lot of what does it mean to be a god? What is your definition of God? I know it's because I want to hear your perspective of what the term God means to be a god.
for me, I see everything as love. I don't look at anybody and go, "Oh, that man's an ugly homeless person. Ooh, that person's rich." I have a neutral balance with everybody, and I love everybody.
So basically we're not the body.
We're not the body, no. This is just our time capsule. We're in it for a certain amount of time.
Uh, Can I ask you a question? This is you. I remember when you was talking to the beings of
Mhm.
the other I guess I'm gonna say parallel world. I'm gonna say they're not reachable because you can talk to them anytime you want to. I'm sure like a telephone. Um, when he said you can create your destiny, he says up to you what you choose. and I know you didn't understand quite. You're like, what? So now do you understand your mission? Since the mission is your choice, is there really a mission, or what they just saying you have the power to do what you want to do? That's what I'm asking. What was the mission? Is that what they saying, or do you have a specific mission, or they
I
was
have
just
a
like,
specific, I have a specific mission.
mm-hmm.
Each person has a mission to complete of their own. I don't know anybody else's, but as I look around the world, I see anger. I see hatred. I see people mistreating others. And my mission is basically to share this story with everybody and to ask them, I've had numerous people ask me, they say, well, for your advice, how much do you charge? And I'm like, nothing, zero. But here's the other side of it. It's going to cost you a lot. You have to pay it forward, and you have to do a lot of anonymous, random acts of kindness. Just inundate the world with that. You know, and a lot of people are blown away by that. They're like, I could do that. A lot of people are so stuck on this money thing. I got this much, you got that much. I'm over you, you're over me, sort of thing. It's this hatred. It's this indomitable hatred. You know, um, People are buying guns and killing other people. Um, I once thought, when will it end? And now I think, how many more people can pay it forward to love one another? How many more people can do some random acts of kindness anonymously to anybody around? You know, the whole thing is this, that we have a choice to create this world for the better, where we can love each other, or we can continue on killing ourselves.
Okay, and I'm gonna answer another question. It's kind of a little bit different. Now, the mission that you're on, do you think this is a mission that was given to you, or do you think it's possibly a mission that you put yourself on? You just don't remember you putting yourself on the mission since you came into this time space. Do you think this is a mission that you had intended but you didn't remember? Because I heard these things. I know you heard of the terms of reincarnation or past lives.
Yeah,
Do you think
yeah.
this is a mission that you have came to do? You just forgot what it was, or I'm just
When
answering.
well, when I first came into this world in 1959, I was angry. I was hostile. I was mean to people. I literally was asked, or I was in a Catholic kindergarten, and the Mother Superior herself gave me a letter, said, do not look at this young man, take it home to your parents and show it to them. I thought, okay. So I got off the bus, ran in the house. Mom, Dad, Mother Superior gave me this note, right? My dad read the note and goes, what did you do? What did you do? Now we have to find another kindergarten. I was kicked out of Catholic kindergarten. In elementary school, I became a bully. In high school, did drugs and everything, and isolated. But then somebody get me in a fight, I was in a fight. I was always angry. When I had this near-death experience in 2000, I was given a mantra. And it's such a simple mantra. And it literally broke the anger in me, for me personally. Um, Other people will look at it and go, okay, that's a good mantra. But for me, the mantra is it just doesn't matter. And so when I look around now at the world we are in, and yeah, I could have probably signed on to this contract before I came into this world. That's true. But I look and I just see too much anger. This person's running after this person. You don't vote for this person, you don't vote for that person, sort of thing. Um, I once asked, when is it going to all stop? Then I thought a better thing. Why don't we pay it forward with love? Why don't we sit down across the table with our brothers and sisters all across the world and just say one thing that they said in Avatar: I see you, but see them from our heart. If we can do that, I believe love will work everything out.
I understand your answer. A lot for people that didn't understand this answer. Um, I'm gonna simplify it. No matter if you've been here before or not, it's what we do now matters.
Yes.
That's the answer. I
Yes.
liked how you answered though, but that is his answer. It's not all matter where what happens then or before, but it's depending on what you choose to do now.
Mm-hmm.
And you have the right, you have the ability to make change now, not just to affect where you are now, but I'm pretty sure what you do affect where you go if you transition. Uh, I think one thing, Mr. Steve, that I can say this is learning the self-discovery is this thing. You can't take the money and clothing cards with you, but what you can take is who you build within yourself. Um, who we are, whether this life or the next life, we will be who we are. Um, we can take that with us. We'll take the love, compassion with us. Um, the knowledge, the growth, and experience, we take that with us. We can't take the money, closing cards with us. And I guess you can leave behind um, a better place or a better environment. Because if you really think about life in general, what are we really achieving? Uh, if we just worry about knowing a whole lot of information or having a lot of money in car, which is not saying they're bad things to have. I believe there's tools. We do need those things. But to identify ourselves with those career positions, the money, and how many women you have and how many cars you have, or not even not even just what you do have, but what you don't have, thinking that you're not this or that because you don't have it, which is the same difference. You think you're something, you think you're nothing. And so I think this is important things um that people have with near death experiences, that a lot of people always come back talking about um we create things here while we're here. We create the karma, and we can create uh uh, uh the future about what we do now. But it always starts with now. No matter what happened yesterday, it's always now. And that's I think that's what's matter, is what we do now while we're here. Um, well, that's what you agree. I don't know, Steve. That what you believe? That's what matters
Oh
now.
yeah, definitely. It's not the shoes you wear or anything. Right near my house, just up the road a little ways, about a half mile, is a cemetery. And I've seen the hearse going around the cemetery with the casket in it. I have never once seen a U-Haul on the back of the hearse. You know, and when my kidneys started going down, I was sitting here like I am now, looking at my living room and all, and my kitchen. And for me, I was going far out. Wow, that's going to go to somebody. That's going to go to somebody. That's going to go to somebody.
True.
You know, I mean, literal truth. The possessions will either go to the family members
Or some stranger.
or some thrift store.
Right.
You know, and the only true thing that we can leave this earth with is love. That's it.
I have another question.
Mhm.
Have you have any ability to see uh people who's not inside their bodies besides the ones you talked to since then, since you can astral project, have you seen other of people who's not
I,
inside their body and able to speak to them or just see them passing by anything, or you don't pay them no attention or not?
I don't pay him that much attention. One time I was sitting at a bus stop in this other town where I used to live, waiting for the bus, and this car, shot through the green light really fast. And I looked at the person, and it wasn't like a thought, but I looked at the person and they were just like fixed focused on, going forward. And I thought, that person is already at their destination down the road and they're not in that car. In other words, their mind is all the way down the road at where they had to be, the office or whatever. And inevitably at that time, a few blocks later, because this person was like not in full control of the vehicle, they had an accident. Their course was stopped. You know, a lot of us, when we get out of our mind, right, and we just go on automatic kind of like thing, there's a lot of people that do that, and they're already like racing ahead to get to the office or anything. Um, People that are out of their body, it depends on really where that person is at, what their home environment is. For me, viewing people, case in point, my wife had an operation, major operation. She had a tumor that was removed, and I remote viewed in the operating room. And my wife and I talked about this afterwards. I told her I was in the operating room with you. And she says, how could you be in there and the doctors never saw you? I said, because I was viewing the operation. And one thing, she goes, yeah, right. And I go, well, let me ask you a question. I was telling you one thing in that operating room, and what were you saying afterwards? She goes, well, what was the one thing you were telling me? I said, you got to keep breathing. You got to keep breathing. Remember to breathe. Remember to breathe. Lo and behold, they're wheeling her out of the operating room to the recovery area. What's going through her mind is, I keep forgetting to breathe. I keep forgetting to breathe. You know, um, remote viewing is primarily like I said previously, if people are blocking you, you can't view them. A person that's out of their body, they're probably a ghost, you know. But I've only saw the one person that was in their car driving and not driving, and the car was not on like uh cruise control. It's just they were fixed focus in their mind to get to the office. And inevitably down the road they caused an accident. So I hope I answered that question.
So you saw the whole, so you saw it in real time, or you saw uh
I saw her pass me going really fast.
mhm.
And so I, got up from the bench and I'm watching down the road, and probably about 2 blocks later, she was like, poof,
Oh wow.
you know, wasn't injured that bad, but still, when you're not attentive to everything around you, being in the now, inevitably something like that will happen.
Wow. That's what I try to see if you can see spirits. I know some people have the gifts to see spirits that's outside the body. Um,
Yeah, I don't. I
okay.
just I just can remote view in to people, but there's, like I said, there are certain parameters.
Okay. Another question I was going to ask you. Since wow, it's a lot. Um, since you have those abilities and things of that nature, um, what what would you really say to the audience that's watching this program? I'm just laid back listening because I'm trying to I'm absorbing and you're seeing things in my mind. So I know you meditate and things. We talk about that as well, and letting go. Um, what things would you tell the people and the viewers that's listening to this? Um, what peace of mind can you give to everybody since you have the near death? Well, I ain't gonna say near death. I guess like I'm gonna call life after life experience because I don't think you really die. You just live the body. But people who may be skeptical what they are or not, what message would you like to give people? Um, uh, uh, that fear death or fear life or fear anything.
Fear has only the power to control you as you want it to. You have the ability to either overcome that which you fear, and I mean totally take it out of your perspective completely, or stay in that cycle. And when you learn to release that which you fear, there's really nothing to fear.
How can you release the fear? Um, I know it's a question. How
Well,
do people
it is
start?
fear is a byproduct of suffering. If you honestly look at what you're suffering, primarily it'll be something so very simple, but our minds construct it into something really monstrous. And when we break it down to the simplest notion, we look at that and go, I'm really fearing this. Big whoopee. You know, when we can do that, when we can break it down, and each person knows how to break it down. A lot of people say they don't, but they do. The problem is that it's all up here, that you have a choice to either break down what you're suffering, and by breaking it down, bring it to the lowest common denominator, the smallest common denominator. Um, you'll know exactly how to get rid of that suffering, and inevitably the fear will literally disappear, just like when you threw that piece of paper away.
I'm not sure another question. Sometimes just because you don't feel something doesn't mean it didn't happen, it's not there. Because
Mhm.
sometimes people go by feelings, like we used to what we feel. We can't feel it or see it. We don't think it happened. So, and I think that's another thing too. We trust our senses too much. So the question is like when you put that paper in my hand, even though I didn't feel the paper, I just accepted it was there because I know you do remote viewing because I have learned that sometimes we can't go by what we feel because just because we don't feel something doesn't not mean that it's not there. And
Mhm.
I think and it's kind of hard people to grasp what they can't uh see with the five senses that we have. We have more than that, but
Yeah.
far as we know of. Um, so you know, yes, kind of like you could have a cut and you could be healing. The cut's still there, but it's still healing. But it doesn't
Mhm.
mean that you're not healing. You know,
Yeah.
it takes time. So when people have problems or maybe things, doesn't mean it's not going to resolve. But I think time is also another thing that concern like people, everyday people is time. We worry about time so much, and so when it comes to healing or overcoming those things, um, just just this is time. That's time you see the results. That has a factor. I mean, what I'm saying? Like you can get rid of things, but the time to see the full results or to see the full benefits of letting go, do you think that's a time process in the healing or letting go or whatever it is that you letting go? Or do you just think that's a mind thing too? Or
Well, time, and letting go stuff. Basically, look at time as being fluid and don't get into like a box situation where I have to have this gone by a certain hour, minute,
right,
second, nanosecond,
right.
right? Make it fluid and just release control over that very situation. There's a great saying that I love, and I use this a lot in a lot of my talks that I've done. Relax. Nothing is under control.
What does that mean? Can you break it down? I mean, I kind of understand. I kind of trying to process them because it's a different. It's like it. It's like you said.
We always try to be in control of everything,
Hmm.
right? And when
Hmm.
something goes wrong, inevitably in our minds something goes wrong. We start going, oh, it's out of control. It's out of control. Nothing is under control. There's absolutely nothing that we have in our life is under control. In other words, you know, this kidney issue, what happened? Why did it happen? Where did it happen? Who gave it to me? What did, we
Right.
try to break it down that way. It's like, no. So I'm just releasing control over it. I take my medicine, do my thing. Um, and I'm grateful for the people that, give me suggestions, take this, listen to this guy, do this, do this, do this. That's adding more control to a situation that has no need to be controlled.
So you're saying don't you letting go but not controlling because you believe it's gonna work itself out one way or another. It's gonna work itself out to where it's supposed to be.
My kidneys started having problems in 1982, right? I was in
Hmm.
my 20s, like 25, 26 at that time. I'm 65 now.
Wow, that's a long time.
Eventually, eventually this body will fall away,
Hmm.
but I'm not going to have anything to do with it. It's just going to happen. Um, to a doctor, it may be a catastrophe, but that's their issue, not mine. Nothing is under control.
I see what you're saying now.
Yeah.
So I think we can do is I understand what you're saying in control, but I know you're not saying you can't heal yourself. A person can't heal themselves. I know that's not what you're saying though. But I
No.
understand. I understand what you're saying. That you understand is there's always two sides to there's always more and more probability. The probability is you either go get healed, you're not go get healed. But either way it go, how you gonna live your life?
Yeah.
And I think that's what a lot of people say. Well, you trying. I know a lot of people say it's crazy. What you gonna do? Well, what can I do? If I can, I can. I can. I can't. Is that gonna stop me from living the best of my ability every day I breathe?
Mhm.
This fear of dying or whatever's going to happen. Should I just give up and just, oh, well, kick it? Or should I just continue to enjoy my life as if nothing happened to the
Yeah.
best of my ability? And that is a choice. And I think that is a thing of the fear of, like I said, people fear living. A lot of people fear dying. Some people do fear living like, I know you mean about fear of living, like trying something different, doing something to get a different result or step out their comfort zone of their fear of living.
Mhm.
But it is
Yeah,
a lot of
exactly.
people are a lot of fear of living. And they're afraid of dying. And they're afraid of doing something different based on condition
Yeah.
of society. Don't do that. That's not gonna work and something like that. Um so that is good to leave people because a lot of people might that sound kind of crazy, but it doesn't matter. Some people will understand, some people will never understand. There's nothing we can do about that. That's up to them. So another question, in your opinion, what do you think this world we call real world really is? Do you think it's a real world? I'm not gonna say it ain't real. I think it's real just like any other world's real. I think there's different. I think two things can be true at the same time, like people say. So what do you think? What do you think, in your opinion, you think this world is a journey place that we try to hang on to so much because we think this is it? Or do you think we're in like in a hologram, kind of like when people say the Matrix, like what's here but it's not here?
Mhm.
I know you stir a lot of scientific theories about it's here, but it's not here. It's here because we believe it's here. Do you believe this place is here because we believe it's here? Or you think it's a combination of things of this existence that we're in now?
In one way of looking at it, we have close to 9 billion people, and probably more now that people are being born, people are dying. But it stays about 9 billion, 10 billion on this earth. Each and every single individual is creating their own self identity with what is happening in the world today by their own thoughts. For me, I believe this world is like a learning center. It's teaching us, by us, through us, as us, on how to live life, you know. And sometimes I believe that we either get it or we don't. And if we don't, we may have to repeat that course, kind of like in school. Um, each person has the ability to create whatever world they want to create for themselves. For me, I just choose to see a world loving, kind, and peaceful with everybody. You know, that's my answer.
All right, that was another question I thought. When you saw that screen of your past, did y'all see the screen of your future as well when you was there?
No, no, I only
Okay.
saw my life review up to the very date of my NDE, from like pre-birth
Mm-hmm.
to the date I had the near
Yeah.
death.
Okay. Um, what do you think the purpose of seeing all that for? You think that's all on one time line? Uh do you think that's like a timeline and it was showing you this the timeline, this would happen, but you can change what happens next?
It showed me how selfish I was, how I thought I was better than anybody. I'd beat them up. I'd lie to people left and right. Um, and it brought me back literally to my senses. You know, when I saw that everybody that I affect is a definite part of me, if that makes any sense. It's
It
kind
makes
of like
sense.
it's kind of like the word namaste. The
Yeah, it makes
soul
sense.
in me recognizes and honors the soul
So
in
then
you.
you, I said I'm gonna stay too.
And then
Um,
in Lakesh is
custody.
I am another you, you are another me. In that way, I cannot hurt you as much as I can hurt me.
All right, now when you saw those people that you say you saw you spitting and stuff like that, and then you
Mhm.
say you saw yourself in those people, whatever, do you really so and I was telling you that when you saw yourself in those people, or they or you see that is they saying you create this situation that there's a reason that people are spitting on you or whatever, or do you really believe like that's you spitting on you, or just or they saying you create this outcome or what happened?
I believe that much like other people, I don't want anybody to hurt me, period.
Hmm.
And that was my whole life was you hurt me, I'm going to hurt you worse.
Hmm.
I'm going to take whatever's yours and it's going to be mine. And when I realized that that nature of mine was affecting me personally, I was going like, oh no, 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 no. That's wrong. That's wrong.
So the whole
And I
time
was
you,
affected by that.
so you basically cause it all upon you. So a lot of stuff you went through, the anger and stuff you put on yourself, didn't realize you was causing a lot of pain you was that was happening. You had drew it, you had created and drew it to you. Basically, what you're saying.
Yeah.
Those
I
events,
created
those
all the
karma,
circumstances in my life, you
and
know,
so now you figure out how to create new circumstances that's gonna fit you better in life. Now, is what you're saying. Um,
most definitely. Most
that's
definitely.
so
Yeah.
the mission is to create what you want, not what you don't want.
Yeah.
Um,
Create a better world for myself as I leave this world or when
that
I leave
makes
this
sense.
world.
Oh yes, that's a good one. So people can take that. I know a lot of people won't believe that things that happen to them is their fault, and like I said, a lot of people don't believe things that happen to us is their fault. They think everything happens by accident or somebody just being mean. Now, I'm at the same time, you're not saying that people should not defend themselves if necessary. You know, a lot of people make, some people hear messages a little different. I know you're about love, but you're not against people defending themselves if necessary. If somebody trying to hurt you.
To a certain extent, the best defense is actually walking away. But if they can't do that, definitely defend themselves, but don't overdo it. You know, and also take into understanding where the person's coming from that is coming at you. Are they in a mental health situation that is very negative and it's affecting them? Um, are they in their anger? You know,
So yeah, so you're saying you should defend yourself in the right capacity if but not
yeah,
overdo it. Like if you
yeah.
have to hurt somebody, you may have to hurt somebody. Not saying you want to hurt somebody. But I'm gonna say the reason I say that because a lot of people think that love is about not defending yourself and not protecting yourself. It's just letting people walk all over you and do what you want to do. Let them do what they want to do. Now I don't want nobody to get that confused or misunderstood. that you shouldn't defend
Yeah.
yourself. You're not somebody trying to come in and kill you or shoot you. I'm pretty sure you have to um defend yourself and your family if necessary. And
Mhm.
I'm not that's what I was saying. So a lot of people can get that love, get that confused by loving people and letting people walk all over you just because you do love them. And I don't want a lot of people get that watered down. And that's why I said what I said and asked you that question. I want people to have a sound mind about what you mean by loving people and not letting people just treat you any kind of way. It's not necessary uh loving that person because you gotta love yourself first.
Yeah.
um okay. I thank you for all the answers and stuff and answering all the questions and giving people all that information that can take back with them because I think basically out of this whole conversation of life, your near death experience in life is it's a simple fact is that to help people to live their life the best of their ability and not to fear death as much and
Mhm.
circumstances as much. And meditation is a thing that people may, I guess, want to incorporate to help them with their daily. Well, I guess for mental health issues, meditation is good for your mental health issues, and not just mental health issues. You believe that meditation is also as good as well, just to help people with the I guess say mental health, not just with the physical part, but also the outside spiritual part too that we say we can't see. You believe that meditation also helps change to not just but the possible circumstances as well. Like
I believe that meditation, as we change the inside, the external world will change in a likewise manner.
okay,
So we'll get like for like. If the inside is bright and light, the outside will be bright and light.
okay, that means yeah you track what you put out there. I mean, it starts
Mhm.
from within inside. Who we
Yeah.
are within inside affect mental, physical, and spiritual, and I guess financial. Would you say all those are connected
Hmm.
from the tangibles in what you call intangibles? We can change that by going inside of ourselves and clearing out our temple, so to speak, the body, the mind, the
Hmm.
spirit, and the subconscious. And that's why I want to thank you for this as well. And I want to thank all my listeners. And I hope y'all can hear me well. No, I was kind of talking kind of low. I was thinking I want to be too loud on the microphone because I don't know how loud I am on this microphone, really. That's my first time using this microphone. And can you hear me pretty good?
I can, yes.
Okay. I didn't know how I sound because I got an accent because I'm a country. But I want to thank you, Mr. Steve Lavoie. I say you pronounce it right.
Lavoie.
Lavoie. And I want
Yes.
to thank you for taking time out your busy day in your schedule
Hmm.
to share information. And I know a lot of people you've been on a lot of podcasts, probably answer a lot of same questions and things of that nature. But I do still think you took the time to answer questions, even maybe the same questions over again, which I know you have. But I thank you for taking the time out. I know you had a lot of things busy earlier in the week. And I want to thank all of y'all viewers and listeners as well to watching this podcast and tuning in. Let's talk with Andrew Love. My platform is basically to talk to people about anything, careers, journey, and you just had basically have a conversation about things that people may learn to help people. And that's why I do this podcast. I do this podcast 'cause I enjoy doing it, give me something to do as well. And I like learning and sharing information of people's experiences of anything that can be beneficial of people to learn from, or if it's food, spirituality, anything that I think is good information to give people that people can take in them to help apply to their life as well. And like I said, I also get a lot from this too because I guess to answer questions and get answers that I don't know and get a lot of feedback. And so I'm also learning as well. When I ask these questions to people, I don't be knowing what they're gonna say most of the time. Because I believe what they have to share and give is going to help me, the viewers as well. And so I'm very grateful to have Mr. Steve on here to share those things because we all have the fear of death, the fear of life, and fear of not knowing anything outside with the system school program and society of tolerance conditioners. And so maybe we all as a whole be able to take chances on things in life to make things different and realize that we do have control of making decisions that we want to make our lives or get the different results that we want. And I know a lot of people used to say this, and don't put this out there, Mr. Steve, to do the same thing over and over again is insanity. But as I learn and grow, I realize not necessarily doing the same thing over and over again is insanity to expect a different result because I understand that sometimes it takes time to get those results. Sometimes you have to push, 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 push to get those results. You're not going to be able to just go to the gym and lift weights and get 300 pounds in a day. As a process. So just because you're doing something over and over again, you may not see like it's working, feel like it's working. Remember, some things in life have a process. So just because you're doing it over and over again and you don't see the results, doesn't mean you ain't getting the results. You just ain't fully manifested yet. Do you agree, Mr. Steve?
Yes, I do.
Okay, because they taught us doing the same thing, especially those is insanity. It is if you looking for quick results. But you may never know. It could be something that's chipping away slowly that you can't see behind the scenes. Like Steve was telling the things he was doing that bring back karma. Karma don't necessarily happen overnight. Sometimes take 2 or 3 weeks, maybe time have right then, could be a couple of years, but you create it. And so you didn't see it coming, but just because you didn't see it coming don't mean it wasn't coming. Same way with some things you do, you gotta keep practicing on it to build that momentum up to see the results that you're looking for. So thank you, Mr. Steve. And I thank everybody's tuned to the program. And hold on, Steve. I'm gonna talk to you after the scene. And thank
Okay.
y'all for tuning in to Let's Talk with Andrew Love. I really appreciate all the viewers and listeners who listen to took time to listen to this segment. I know it's long, so you're probably gonna see in segments as well. Thank y'all. Thank you, Mr. Steve. And thank everyone who's tuning in into this, listen to this thing. And I really, really, really appreciate it. Thank y'all for tuning in.